Welcome to this week's Ask Charlie. I asked on my Instagram and Facebook to ask me your questions because I was going to do a Q&A, and I've had so many questions and I want to answer all of them. I really appreciate that you have taken the time to ask me your questions, and so I don't want to leave anybody out and just pick out my favourites. So I'm going to actually split this over 2 weeks, so because it would just be too much in one video. There's a couple of really meaty questions as well, and I want to be really honest with you and you know and take the time to answer them. So we're going to start this week with part 1, and then you'll have to stay tuned for next week's episode, which is part 2. But I'm going to film it in one go for you all. So the first question is, do you still have chickens? No, not at the moment, but watch this space. So I bought on Facebook Marketplace recently a new chicken coop. We had a real problem with the fox getting in to the orchard. Some of you may remember, you may not remember, you might be quite new around here, but our chickens, I like them to free range as much as possible up in the orchard where the kitchen garden is. And the fox just kept getting in, and I just couldn't keep it fox-proof. So we've decided that we're going to get an electric fence to go around the new chicken coop that's in the orchard. We built a chicken coop in the back of the hay barn, which some of you may remember, which did work well, but also it didn't work well because we had a problem with red mite, and it was really difficult to treat that area because obviously it's a massive barn. And so we've decided, and also Si didn't like having the chickens in the barn. He was never for that plan. It was me, and I should have listened to him. So the chickens are going to go in a coop in the orchard with an electric fencing around them. We've got mains electricity up there, so we can easily run that. But the electric fencing I want is horribly expensive, and so I'm saving up for it. So at some point we will have chickens again, which I'm really excited about because I have missed them enormously. Favourite part of living in the country? What's your favourite part about living in the country? Well, I grew up in the country, and whilst I love London, whilst I love cities, I love the peace and quiet. I love the open space. I love just being able to go for a walk with the dogs, go out for a long ride, you know, whatever it is. I just love having space. We are pretty rural where we are here, but where Mum's house is down in Devon. So Mum died. We've kept her house. I've got holiday lets down there. That is really, really, really rural. And I actually like really, really, really rural. When we were children, we had a house up in the Highlands of Scotland in the middle of nowhere, with the house was sort of on a, well, the garden sloped down. We had the sea, the little beach down at the bottom of the garden, and then the hills behind us. And I just love having that space and freedom. And so the countryside is where my heart is. I just absolutely love it. I love all the seasons as well. I love the summer, but I love the winter. I love the sort of dark, cosy nights that you have in the country with a log fire. Yeah, I'm a country girl through and through. What do you eat in a day? I pretty much always start my day with a bowl of granola and yogurt and some fruit. If I don't have granola, then it will probably be a croissant or a piece of toast, or a few pieces of toast, with my homemade apple and blackberry jam, which is an absolute favourite. I love that. But granola is my go-to. Lunch tends to be a salad, a bowl of soup. I love sourdough. If I'm in a real rush, it will be kind of lunch on the go, and I'll just, you know, grab some stuff, which does happen. And then in the evening, we tend to sit down and have meat, fish, salad, vegetables, that sort of thing. I try to eat pretty healthily, although Simon would disagree. I do love a packet of crisps, and I do have a real weakness for chocolate. Quite like sweets, but actually I haven't turned to sweets for quite a while but I love a Snickers, I love a Whisper, I love a bit of Galaxy. I have been better recently. I haven't been eating chocolate every day. I'm trying to make a conscious effort because I was aware that I was putting on a few pounds around here, and I don't weigh myself. I eat what I want. I listen to my body, but I find having a really, really good breakfast and granola. I make my own granola. It's super, super, super healthy, and it's, you know, it keeps me going till lunchtime. I try to, you know, have an apple if I'm hungry. I've got loads of strawberries from the kitchen garden at the moment, so I will, you know, snack on those, trying to, you know, be sensible and healthy. If I want a biscuit, I'll have a biscuit. I believe I've got a video on why I don't believe in diets, and I talk through, you know, more there. I believe, you know, if you're craving something and you really want it, then have it, because otherwise you're just going to think about it even more. So, but yes, go and watch that video if you want to know more, but that's sort of what I tend to eat in a day. What do you look for in friendship, and how many friends do we need? Well, I think you only need a handful of really good friends. I have got friends that date back to, you know, early childhood, and then I've got newer friends too. What do I look for in a friend? I think somebody that is loyal, kind, trustworthy. I think when the trust is broken, then a friendship breaks down. It can be repairable, but I don't think it will ever be exactly the same. I think I'm a really, really loyal friend, and I've got some wonderful, wonderful, loyal, supportive friends. But I think, you know, a really good friend, it doesn't matter if you don't speak for, you know, 6 months or a year, because, you know, of circumstance. I've got a great friend in Australia, and sometimes we don't talk for a long time, but we just pick up exactly where we left off. And that, to me, is the sign of a really true friendship, if you can just kind of pick up. I think it's really important to have friends you can be totally yourself with, 100% yourself with. If you're having to put on an act, then it's wrong. And so I think being totally yourself, and you have, you know, different friends for different, not needs, but, you know, I've got one friend that we particularly talk about gardening. I've got another friend that we particularly talk about clothes and fashion. I've got another friend that we talk about, you know, children and feelings. And so I draw different things from my different friendships. But I don't think you need loads and loads of friends at all. A handful of really good, lovely friends is all one needs in life. And, you know, friends come and go too. You know, circumstances change. You may, you know, and I was particularly aware of it where, you know, with children, if your children are at a totally different age, it's difficult because your life revolves around your children to a certain extent. So, you know, friendships do come and go, and things change. But I think somebody that makes you laugh, that you can be completely yourself with, that you can trust and rely on, and somebody that you can call if there's a crisis, and, you know, if they can, they'll do their utmost to come and help. That's what friendship is for me. What's your best wedding advice? I'm getting married in July. Congratulations. How exciting. Absolutely love a wedding. I think it's really important to not get too wound up about it. It's a day, but if you are, you know, it's a really, really special, incredible day, but if you get too much of a 2 and 8 about the whole thing, then actually you're not going to enjoy it. So go with the flow. If something doesn't go completely to plan, don't get rocked by it. Just be like, okay, it doesn't matter, it's not a big deal, as long as your loved ones are there. I think it's really important that you've got a good photographer, and that you sit down and you brief your photographer to exactly, you know, the photos that you want to have. Take some time to get those photos and to have those memories, because it's really lovely to look back in the years to come on those. So take, 45 minutes, an hour, just go and get all of those photos that you want. I think it's really, really important. Don't sweat about, all the tiny details. Your guests won't notice it all. Just try and enjoy the day as much as you possibly can. Don't drink too much. Pace yourself, because it's a bad idea to get, to drink too much early on and then feel rotten, I think is a good bit of advice. And, also chat to your close friends, family, and just say, right, would you do this? Delegate, get people involved. People love helping. And I think it's really lovely. Don't try and do it all yourself. Delegate. Rope in your friends and family to help out if they're willing to, and just try and enjoy it as much as you possibly can, and just stop for moments and just take it all in, because it goes so quickly. It goes in a complete flash. I wanted to do it all again and just slow it all down. So just take moments and breathe and just look around. Take time to go and speak to friends or family that have come a long way that you haven't seen for a long time. Just, make sure that you go and see everyone and have a chat. When we were eating, actually, I went around every table and had a chat to all my guests, and that was really special. Sort of seeing everyone, that's quite a good time when everyone's sitting down to go and catch people. So that's a good tip for you. But huge congratulations and enjoy your day. Which do you prefer, country or coast? It'd have to be countryside. I love the countryside, but I love the sea. I love the coast. I love walking along the beach. I love the different seasons and being on the beach and the changes. I love watching the weather come in. But personally, I don't think I could live by the sea all year round. That's just my personal preference. I don't think I haven't lived by the sea ever all year round, but I think I love the countryside. I love having what do I love having? I love having the seasons, and I love having the space to go sort of in different directions rather than just along a beach. I think I think that's what I love. Sorry, that sounds a bit vague and a bit waffly, but I am more of a country girl than a beach girl. I actually have a bit of a funny thing about sand. The children and I will tell you I don't like sand everywhere. So that is probably the main reason why I'm country rather than coast. But then in the country you've got mud, so you can't really win anyway, can you? I've got my list of questions down here, so if I'm looking down here, that's why. As a mum, how do you cope with kids and issues at school? Do you worry a lot? You look so organised and chilled. How do you cope as a mum with kids and issues at school? I think it's really important to go and talk to the school if there are issues. Go to the teacher, go, and chat to them. Send them an email and say, can we have a conversation? I've got this worry. And often they will say, actually, we're not seeing that at school. They seem really happy, blah, 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 or, yeah, sure, we can address that. So I think it's really important, first of all, to approach the school, child's form teacher, and say, I've got this worry, and that's good. I think it's really important that your children can talk to you about how they're feeling. And I often sit down with my kids, I might pick them up from school and they'll say, this has happened, that's happened. And often when you pick your children up, they are sort of tired, there's this thing that's happened, they're all a bit wound up, and I will feed them, we will sit down, they will have defused, and we can just address the situation, talk about it. We talk a lot as a family. Simon's really, really good and really helpful and gives really sound advice. And so we will talk it through. that's how I deal with it. I do try to be as organised as possible, but I also try to get the children to be as organised as well, because there's no point me doing everything for them. So I get them to empty their kit bags, I get them to put their things back in their kit bags, I get them to check that they have got everything. I try not to completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Mollycoddle them, because they've got to learn to be responsible, and actually if they've forgotten their book then they're going to get in trouble. So they have to learn. And I also teach the children to stop at the front door and think, have I got my glasses, have I got my pencil case, have I got my reading book, have I got my water bottle, and just run through those important things that they need for that day, and to think, okay, it's Tuesday, I need to take my flute to school, before they get in the car. And so they just stop, and I do that too. I stop and I think, right, have I got this, have I got that, have I got everything I need? Okay, off we go. And so I teach the children to do that. So I'm passing on those organisational skills to them. Coco is super organised, the boys aren't. They try to blame it on being dyslexic, but it's not an excuse. They have to just work harder and try harder. Do I worry a lot? Yes, at times I do worry a lot. I think changing school is a worrying time, but if you are showing your children that you are worried, then they will pick up on that anxiety and they will start being worried and anxious. So actually, I try to keep my worries and my fears to myself, or share them with Simon or a friend, rather than letting the children pick up on that vibe. I think that's a really, really important thing, that you don't pass on that anxiety to your children, because it will make them anxious, and often they don't need to be. Packing for holidays. I think my best bit of advice is, when you've been on a holiday, so say if we've been down to Devon, when we come back, I will write a list of all the things that we need to take for the following year, if that makes sense. So, you know, I may have taken things that we haven't used, that haven't been important, or I may have forgotten things that were important. So if I've got them on a list, then I can refer back to it the next time we're going on that type of holiday. So, you know, if you're going on a skiing holiday, when you're coming back, you know, take 10 minutes when you're sitting on the plane on the way back, just to write a list of all the things that you need for the following year, and the things that you didn't need to take, if that makes sense. And I think that's really good advice. And then you can just look back on that list and think, yep, brilliant. And that helps you be more organised for whatever type of holiday. But, you know, packing in general, I try to do well in advance. So say we're going on a summer holiday abroad, and I will make sure a good 3 weeks before that I've gone through the children's clothes and we've got everything that we need. So there's no last minute panics. I make sure, and they hate it, but they try on their shorts, they try on their swimming trunks, they try on their flip-flops, or whatever it might be. And so I know that everything fits and everything works. I've got little Florence at the door who wants to come in, and I know if I let her in, she's going to be a complete pain. So if you can hear something scratching at the door, that is little Florence. Anyway, so hopefully that is helpful. The next question is about meal planning, and I have my weekly meal planner. This is a complete lifesaver. It's an absolute godsend. Sit down once a week, get out your recipe books, and just write your shopping list and write out your meal plan. And once you get into the habit of doing it, once you get into the swing of it, it becomes really, really easy. This works so you can, let's find a blank page, write out your weekly plan, and then you can write notes on the back of what worked, what they liked, what they didn't like. And then you've got your shopping list with fruit and veg, meat and fish, dairy and deli. And then on the back, pantry, herbs and spices, and other. And then total spend. Things in the world have gone through the roof price-wise. And so, you know, we're having to be really mindful of where we're spending money, how we're spending money. And so keeping track of what you're spending on food and groceries is really, really helpful and important. Now, you can rip this off and take it shopping with you. You might sit down and do online shopping. But the great thing about the meal plan is if you've got a really busy time and you don't have time to sit down and plan your week ahead, you can just refer back to a previous week and a previous week's shopping list and just copy it. Just do the same. You know, you might want to change a few meals depending on what's going on. But actually, if you take the time to sit down and meal plan, it saves so much money. It saves so much time. It saves so much stress. It is the way forward. So I highly recommend doing that. These are available on my website. I post them out to you, but you can just make your own. If you don't want to spend, money on using mine. This has got 52 weeks of the year, so it's a whole year's worth in one go. But take some time to meal plan. It's the way forward. It's a complete and utter game changer. Do you have an organisation system for post and important documents? Yes, I have a filing cabinet and I've got different sections in there, and I just slot in, paperwork that's important to keep. There's a lot of paperwork that you don't need to keep, so don't hang on to things if you really don't need to, but it is really important to have a good system. If you don't have a filing cabinet, you can easily just Simon calls them slippery fish. I'm trying to see if there's one. There is. There, we have them everywhere. There's one right here. And so slippery fish. And in that document goes, I might have to let Florence in a second. And so you can just, you could put a sticker on there with bank statements, and you could just put them, in a box file or a lever arch file or something, a lever arch file with divides, and start off that way. It depends how much paperwork you've got, but it's really important to be organised with documents, and I find like an old-fashioned filing cabinet a really good way of doing that. Do you use any self-tanning products? Yes, in last week's video I showed you the Balance Me Gradual Tanning Drops. I use those on my face. I don't use anything on my body. I have used, like, post-holiday, that sort of tan maintainer kind of cream, but I don't like the way it feels. I don't like it. I've got quite olivey skin naturally, so I'm normally quite tanned. So I don't really need to put tan on as well. I do, I spend a lot of time outside. I don't spend a lot of time lying down sunbathing. I did in the past. I keep Factor 50 on my face and obviously put sun cream on my body. So I'm quite careful, but I don't use any other tanning products apart from the Balance Me Gradual Tanning Drops, which I'm really, really enjoying using. What age do you think is appropriate for children to have a mobile phone? We have hung off as long as possible with our children. Gus is 11, he doesn't have one. Coco is 12, Archer's 13, almost 14. They both have a mobile phone. Gus doesn't have a need for a mobile phone. Coco spends a lot of time up at the yard doing painty stuff. So I think hold off as long as possible. Gus will probably get one when he is 12, I'm thinking, so in a year's time. But he's got no need for one at the moment, so I think there is no rush. The longer that you can avoid it, the better. But I think if children are going to school on the bus or on a train or walking to school, then I think it's really important that they have a phone for that reason. But we do have our sort of phone boundaries. They're not allowed their phones up in their bedrooms at night. They have to leave them downstairs. And we have to have access to look at things on their phone, anytime. So they know, I actually don't go through their phones particularly, but they know that I can, and I can see what they're up to. And also I think it's important that that you have sort of really kind of honest, open conversations with them about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate online, and particularly with photos and things like that. So we do have sort of very open, honest conversations about what is acceptable and what is not. So hopefully that's helpful. How do you ensure you spend quality time with each of your children? So we kind of mix things up. So for example, Simon will take Archie to cricket one week, and then I might go and watch Archie in a cricket match another week, or I might have a day where I just go off and do something with him. Coco and I obviously do sort of ponies and riding, so we have a lot of time doing that together. Sometimes we'll go shopping together. Gus and I started a little thing when he was a toddler of going for Cheers, and Cheers is at the Coco Cafe in Petworth, and we love going there. We've gone there for years. So when the other two started school and he wasn't at school, we would go and have Cheers together, and it's basically a hot chocolate. And so we love doing that. I'll say, come on Gus, let's go for a dog walk and, you know, have some time with him, or I'll say, come on Arch, let's go and do something. So I think it's just important to rotate your time between them. I might go and lie on one of their beds in the evening and chat to, you know, one of them one night and then another one the other night, or I might sit in the bathroom when they're in the bath and chat to them. Simon's really good at, you know, taking Coco off and doing something with her, and then doing things with the boys. And the boys have got different interests, and so, you know, we'll go and do things with them, you know, one-on-one as a parent. But I think it is really important to try and have some quality time alone with each of the children on a regular basis. So we try and do that as much as possible, but it's a bit of well, not a sort of juggling, well, it is a bit of a juggling act, and I don't think it's something that we plan sort of specifically. It just happens, and I think if one of us is feeling like we haven't spent that much time with one of the children for a period of time, then we'll just do something and say, come on, let's go off and we go out and have lunch together, or let's go and have a walk, or what you know, whatever it might be. So that's what we do. Charlie, what is your opinion on aging gracefully, Botox and plastic surgery? I think it's good to age gracefully. I mean, look, we all get older, and we can't stop that. So if, you know, somebody has a facelift, their hands are going to give their age away. Do you know what I mean? So I'm all for aging gracefully, but I'm also very kind of open-minded. I never say I never. I am just beginning to get a few grey hairs. I have never dyed my hair, but I am just thinking that maybe I might need to start at some point doing something, because I am not ready to embrace grey. I think, you know, I'm almost 42. I think later in my 50s, a little bit of grey hair actually looks really attractive on a woman, but I'm not quite ready for it yet. So I would think about dyeing my hair. Botox, I've never had Botox. I was actually talking to Wendy about it the other day, because it's always something that I thought I would never have. I'm not saying I'm going to have it. I am not even thinking about it, because actually I can't afford it. But I do have a big frown line here. I do have 3 big crease lines across my forehead, and sometimes makeup gets clogged in them. And I've noticed that around my eyes, I think I did, wearing a mask, a lot of smiling with my eyes, and I am getting, I think they're called crow's feet, aren't they? Around my eyes a bit, and my eyelids are a bit droopier than they were. So I'm open-minded, but I probably never will, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's so expensive, and it does scare me, if I'm honest. It does scare me. So I think you can easily have things done and they go wrong and you wish that you hadn't. For example, I have got quite big boobs. They're very, very, very saggy after having 3 children. Gosh, I'm sharing quite a lot with you here, aren't I? And probably about 8 years ago, I did think about having a breast uplift, if that is that the word. But actually, I did some Googling, and the surgery, they have to actually relocate your nipple. You end up with a scar down there and a scar under there. And I thought, no, thank you very much. I'll just deal with having saggy boobs. And I do find them a bit of a pain, but not enough to do something about. But then, I know people that have had breast reductions because, they had huge breasts and they were becoming a problem. They were getting backache from them, etc., etc. And so then, yes, absolutely go and get it done. I broke my nose very badly. And actually, I don't love my nose, but it's okay. But I have got one nostril that's completely blocked, and I do, Simon says I snort like a pig from time to time, possibly a bit more than from time to time. And I've got hay fever at the moment, so it's pretty blocked up. I would, if I had the time and the wherewithal, actually have an operation to unblock that, because I think I would sleep better, and I think I wouldn't sound like a pig. But I'm not going to do it because it doesn't bother me that much. So, I'm very open-minded. If people want to have things done, great. I'm all for people being happy. And if it makes them happy, then great. But it does scare me about things going wrong. And I personally prefer a natural look. I don't like kind of big pouty lips and really sort of over accentuated features. I just prefer, sort of natural. So I think growing old gracefully, but open-minded to, dyeing hair and, and a little bit of Botox. How did Si get into the fish business? He used to be in the meat business, and then I think he saw a hole in the market, and he set up Arctic Traders almost 30 years ago. It could even be 30 years ago. So he's been in the fish business for a very long time. But he started off working for a company that was, I think they were importing beef mainly from Argentina. I'm sure that is correct, but that's how that happened. If you could cook one meal for the rest of the year, what would it be? I have thought about this, and it's really, really, really tough because I love food and I don't think I could choose one. But I'm going to choose 2. Beef bourguignon, because I just love that, and aubergine parmesan, which is another absolute favourite. Yeah, those are my 2, and I'm sorry that I couldn't narrow it down to one, but beef bourguignon and aubergine parmesan make my mouth water. How did you get into AGA Life? How did I get into AGA Life? Grew up with Argas. Up in the house in Scotland that I mentioned earlier, we had a solid fuel Rayburn. That was quite a feat. In fact, we've lived in 3 houses that have had solid fuel Rayburns. And so I've just grown up with the Rayburn and AGA family, and I love the way they cook. I love the fact that you can dry your clothes, that you can make a piece of toast, that you can fry an egg, that you can do your ironing. I just love them. I absolutely love them. Our AGA is turned off at the moment, and that makes me really, really sad because I love it and I miss it. And I know this might sound really odd, but she's my friend. What inspired you to start catering? Well, nothing really inspired me to start catering. I fell into it by accident. So when I was nannying, I did a lot of cooking for the family that I worked for. I then used to go back and cook for them, fill up their freezer. I then started teaching friends to cook. If they said, Charlie we'd just be talking about food, and I'd say, oh, well, I can help you with that. And so, I had this lovely friend that I worked with, Ed, and he would come over, and I remember teaching him how to make spaghetti bolognese. I'm going to have to let that little dog in. Hang on. Florence and Lola were wrestling outside the door, and Florence wants to come up and say hello. Yes, so I never sort of actually planned to get into catering. It just happened. I then started doing home-cooked meals pre-COVID, like pre-Ask Charlie, or just as I started Ask Charlie, I was doing home-cooked meals for local families and filling their freezers. And it just sort of happened from there. Simon runs a shoot here in Sussex. He's run for, gosh, probably about 30 years as well. And the shoot cook said she didn't want to do it anymore, and so I said to me, darling, would you do it? So it just happened. What kind of music do you enjoy? Oh, it's a really difficult one, because I love all music. I love classical music. I love country. I love pop music. I love music. Simon is the music man, and actually I need to get him to do a playlist, which I could probably share with you all as well via Spotify if I'm clever enough to work out how to do it. And we have got a bit of a few road trips coming up, so I might see if I can create that on one of our road trips. Yeah, I love all types of music, and it depends what mood I'm in, really. I mean, classical music if I'm feeling sort of quiet and reflective, and country if I feel like I want to just have a bit of a bop around the kitchen, and, pop music if I want to sing out loud. I love all the 90s stuff that I grew up with. Florence, you can't see her, but yes. So yeah, all types of music, and I will create a playlist that I can share with you at some point. What is your favourite seafood dish to make? I think it depends on the season. I mean, I love prawns. You can give me a pint of prawns and I will sit there very, very happily eating away, dipping them into a Mary Rose sauce and enjoying them. Simon actually won my heart. He arrived on my doorstep when we were dating with some fresh langoustine, which were just utterly delicious. But then I love a good old-fashioned cottage pie. Not cottage pie, sorry. Florence was distracting me. A good old-fashioned fish pie with, peas and boiled eggs chopped up into them and cooked with cloves. Just yummy in the winter, comfort food. So it just depends on the season. But I love lobster. I love a lobster roll. Cape Cod in America. We spent some time, gosh, was it five or six summers ago? Their lobster rolls are just unbelievable, utterly delicious. But yeah, it just depends on the season. What is one of your favourite main go-to summer dishes to make? That's a tricky one. It just depends, again, sort of on the mood. I love just having a piece of puff pastry and putting, tomatoes and pesto and mozzarella, and making sort of like a pizza, but just, really easy food. I make a lot of quiches in the summer. I love seasonal food. I do love like a, pasta with a lovely salad on the side. Yeah, it just depends really on sort of what we're doing, but a lot of salads. Yeah, it just depends sort of on the mood and what we're doing, but lots and lots of yummy salads with roasted vegetables and tomatoes and mozzarella, and I quite like picky food in the summer when it's really hot as well. You know, just having a platter of cold meats and salads and you know, pasta and just lots of different things, and just having a little bit of everything. So there's not sort of like one specific that I can give you. Do you turn your AGA off in the summer, and how do you manage without it? Yes, we do turn it off. It's turned off. I just mentioned that. And I struggle, to be honest. I have to use the washing line, and we do a lot of barbecuing. So that is how we manage. I've got an electric module attached to my AGA, and I cook on that, but I don't love it. And if I've got a big catering job, I'll actually turn the AGA back on and use that. But I am bereft until it comes back on at some point in September, to be honest. I am going to end this part of this week's Q&A here with little Florence, because I think it's getting quite long now. I've still got lots of questions and a biggie. So stay tuned for that for next week. The question that is a biggie is, Charlie, you never mention your dad. That would be my question. And so for next week's episode, I'm talking about my dad and my relationship with him. I have never really talked to you guys about it, but I want to be honest and open with you. And so I am answering that for next week's part of the Q&A. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your questions. Sending you love as always, and a very, very, very happy weekend. And I'm going to go and take this one outside because she's being a pest. We're going to have a run in the garden. Yes, we will. We'll see you soon. Bye.